Yes, now bless now, people. Don't forget to rest now. There's ROCKSTEADY, King of the Pit TV. Let me just make sure I got volume. You definitely heard a twinkling. You definitely heard a twinkling. We just listened to UnderOath. It was recommended on the Patreon by my good friend. Quite funny, actually. If you watched that last video, there'd be a random name in the search bar. I just clocked onto it. There'd be a random, which is someone I was fascinated on. Yeah. If you're into the spiritual, that's a deep rabbit hole. If you clocked onto that. But with that being said, we listened to UnderOath. They're only chasing safety. Yeah, fascinating. 10 tracks. It was recommended by my good friend Joel on the Patreon. And yeah, you've done me some good recommending this one, I will tell you that. So 10 tracks, arguably 9, considering one was a 52-second interlude. It was good. The production was good. Took me a moment to find a YouTube playlist of appropriate detail. Purely as it seems the UnderOath channel themselves haven't compiled a playlist of this album's material, which is like shooting yourself in the foot, really, isn't it? Considering this is, as far as UnderOath is concerned, like the most what's the term? Just the most memorable album artwork, right? When I don't think of this artwork, but when I see this artwork, I think, all right, that's the one I remember. I might not apply it to UnderOath because prior to this, it could be flipping Funeral for a Friend. For all I know, they sort of compartmentalize into the same realm for me, them sort of acts. But it was good. Are we metalcore in the sense that we got breakdowns and mosh bits? No, which is good. Are we metalcore in the sense that we have clean vocals, harsh vocals, distorted guitars, melodic sections, harsher sections? Do we sound like an act that would be sufficient of quality within the 2000s? Yeah, most definitely. Fantastic band. In particular, the guitar work. I would say it was a guitar band. They reeled the drums back on this record quite a bit. To an extent where I think, bloody hell, they could have pumped that snare up a little bit more. It didn't detract from the production. It sounded good, but I thought, wow, like they've really done a job with the guitars and the sound of the guitars on this record. The guitars were fantastic. I couldn't really come to much fault as far as it being dual guitar driven. But the guitar, I don't know. Is there one or two guitars? I assume this is a 2-guitarist band. Bass line was there, but bass line didn't noodle like the guitars did. The vocals were the selling point. The vocals were fully frontal in the mix. The sung vocals were very professional, very mature, very clear, and bro, nobody sings like this no more. You would think if somebody sings, they naturally just sing, right? And then their tone is their tone. But the tone of this clean vocal is so sort of indicative of this particular time frame in music, you know. It was emo. Not emo in the... I always have to clarify, not emos in the roots of emo, but emo in the scene I participated in. Like the scene kid scene, you know, the brutal kid scene. I don't know when this was put out. I don't know what year this was put out. It didn't tell me. My apologies. It didn't tell me, just due to the crappy playlisting. But I'm going to take a guess and say... this was 2004. It feels like 2004 to me. What else needs to be said? What else? No. One of my favourite elements of this act and this record was the chorusy melodic vocal hook sections. The dudes could really put together a good structured song with a good hook, with a good chorus. And I know that it feels uncomfortable for an act to do that all the way through, you know, essentially pop structure their songs, you know, and copy and paste the formula from song to song. But that really is the way to do it. That really is the way to do it, you know, because you're waiting for that next hit song that you can sing along to, that you can engage with. And yeah, I'm not going to speak on you, you know, because it is subjective, but for me, that's what I really enjoy and look out for. There's nothing wrong with a bit of crowd participation, you know. I don't want to listen to an act and think, flipping hell, you know. Like, even when it comes to bands that don't orchestrate in that particular manner, I think, right, well, I need a good riff or a good mosh section, because I want to be able to participate and cooperate with the art I'm engaging with. If I can't engage with the art in, you know, an expressive manner myself, it detracts a lot from my experience. And you know what? I'll leave that there. With that being said, this album makes me want to hear another UnderOath record to see what they do. This sounds like an act that will mature into a cleaner space, such as Bring Me the Horizon did, you know? They mature, they get older, they got kids to look after, the label is putting records out and giving them better production value, and they think, yeah, we need to produce, you know, easier listening records. I reckon that's the direction this band might have gone. You correct me if I'm wrong, because it's early days for me. I've not checked out later stuff. And I'll leave that there. I'm going to rate this record a 7.5 out of 10. A 7.5, right? Which is good. Which is good. I'll call that a day. Thank you. Bye-bye.